When we march and we shout about what we need to do to reform the criminal justice system, we better understand that we got to march and shout with our paychecks and all of the work that we can do to actually make sure that somebody like Marilyn Mosby gets reelected into that office. To not only get convictions, but have convictions. There are a lot of people who are highly critical of her because she heard the voices of the people and said, even if I can't win, I'm gonna do the right thing. It's gonna be rough, it's gonna be tough. She cannot fail, and I know she will not fail.
Later.
After months of a federal investigation, charges for a top city official. Tonight, Baltimore's lead prosecutor is facing some legal woes of her own in a shocking new indictment. The 19-page indictment accuses Mosby of perjury and making false statements on mortgage applications.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Do I have a story to tell you guys today about Kamala Harris's friend who claimed that Kamala was her role model, Miss Marilyn Mosby, who has been the state attorney for the city of Baltimore, Maryland, in which she's overseen over 2,500 homicides since 2015 after she got elected. A lot of these homicides preventable, right? In a Wall Street analysis, more than half, or 77 out of 110 homicide defendants whom cases were examined were previously convicted of a serious crime under Miss Mosby. And at least 61 of those 77 were convicted of an offense whose eligible jail term, if served, would have prevented the alleged homicides, right? It would have been impossible if the criminals were locked up like they were supposed to be locked up. However, Miss Marilyn Mosby has been soft on crime. She's been soft on crime because her rise to fame has been based off her progressive criminal justice record, okay, in which she is the prosecutor that infamously decided to bring charges against the police officers that were allegedly responsible for the death of Freddie Gray. Now, fast forward almost, 8 years now, okay, since this woman has been elected, Baltimore is in shambles when it comes to crime, and she's up for re-election. However, re-election and throwing police officers in jail is the least of this woman's worries, as she might end up in jail, okay? As she has been indicted on federal charges. Take a look.
Begin with those felony charges State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby is facing, a story WJZ was first to bring you today. The 19-page indictment accuses Mosby of perjury and making false statements on mortgage applications.
She's indicted now, and now we fight.
Marilyn Mosby's attorney, A. Scott Bolden, vowed a vigorous defense against the 4 felony charges a grand jury brought against her. They involve Mosby's personal finances, allegations she lied on mortgage applications for 2 vacation properties in Florida, and falsely claimed a COVID-19 hardship withdrawal from her retirement account. Bolden spoke to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Marilyn Mosby had businesses, if you will, and so those businesses were in the travel space, and they were affected by it, and her accountant urged her to take that money.
In a statement to WJZ, Bolton says, "I remain confident that once all the evidence is presented, she will prevail against these bogus charges that are rooted in personal, political, and racial animus 5 months from her election." As to another allegation that Mosby lied about a prior tax lien to obtain a lower interest rate on one of her homes, Bolden says her husband, City Council President Nick Mosby, never informed her of the tax issue.
Guys, ain't it amazing how all these BLM activists, okay, these people want to lock up police so bad, are always involved in criminal activity themselves, particularly when it comes to financial crimes, in which, in this case, this woman allegedly lied on her mortgage application to buy 2 homes and lied and said that she was affected by COVID in order to withdraw from her retirement account without penalty, okay, and also allegedly is not paying her taxes. Ain't it funny how that works, okay? It's almost like these people themselves are corrupt, right? These people that are seeking social justice are some of the most corrupt people in this country. And what did Miss Marilyn Mosby have to say about these charges, right, being brought against her? Well, of course, just like her BLM counterparts, right, she played the victim card in that, oh, this is just retaliation because I'm progressive and I'm woke and I tried to charge these police officers involved in Freddie Gray's death. Take a look.
I
first met Marilyn Mosby at an event for the amazing group Black Girls Vote in Baltimore in 2014 with the late, great Representative Elijah Cummings. And then again when I covered the Baltimore uprising in the wake of the police killing of Freddie Gray a year later. Now, I can recall thinking the state attorney's push to vigorously prosecute the officers who killed Freddie Gray was a bold move, particularly for a rather rare black state attorney. Police are rarely held to account in the deaths of unarmed people, particularly black people. And the police unions are powerful, and their political influence is real. Those officers were eventually cleared by a judge's ruling. Accused by the Justice Department of financial crimes and facing up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Yes, I mean the same Justice Department that seems to be awfully slow when it comes to the former president, Donald Trump. So I asked if she would come on to the show to talk about it, and she and her attorney said yes. So joining me now is Marilyn Mosby, state's attorney for Baltimore City, and her attorney, A. Scott Bolden. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it. And I know this is, of course, is a high-pressure situation. There is an arraignment this Friday.
Yeah, there's an arraignment this Friday, Joy.
And I mean, for you, who is somebody who has, devoted your life to, putting the bad guys in jail and fighting for justice, how does that feel to be in this position?
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, as I expected as a state's attorney that, fighting for racial justice in the criminal justice system, fighting to end mass incarceration in a state where you have the largest sort of incarceration of black people in the entire nation, I understood that I was going to get pushback, but never did I or could I have ever imagined that I would be mocked, that I would be ridiculed, that I would receive hate mail, that I would receive death threats. They would describe how my husband would be killed coming out of my house and how no police officers would respond, how they would target my children, right? And I never expected the lawsuits, and I never expected to be on this side of the fence when the only thing that I'm attempting to do is to provide equal justice to all, regardless of race, sex, religion, and occupation.
So let's do the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the charges. What you're accused of, when you buy a home, you can take money out of your 401k. Yep. There are strict rules as to when you can do it to take money out early. You are accused of taking money out of your 401k early to buy homes and not being honest about why, using the CARES Act, which benefits people who are having financial issues, and then using sort of incorrect information about liens, not disclosing them, and using that to get loans. That's sort of just the summary of what you're accused of.
So
how do you respond
let me just be clear, and I'll defer to my attorney on the specifics. But this has been a long-term investigation that has gone through every aspect of my life. From my charitable donations to my tax returns. They have interviewed every political donator. They have gone to my hairdresser, my children's dance instructors. And this is ultimately, they sent subpoenas to black churches throughout the city of Baltimore. In an election year, I'm 4 months from my election, right? And this is what they come back with, me accessing my own personal funds that I put away every single week. And so, at the end of the day, and again, I'll defer to my attorney, there's ulterior motives for something like this, for an attack like this.
But when you bring an indictment, if I may, when you bring an indictment 4 months before an election, when you don't sit down with the defense and tell them what you're looking for and what you're looking at before you bring the indictment, you're not trying to find justice or truth. You're trying to affect the outcome of her reelection effort. When you have a prosecutor like Leo Wise, who targets historically African-American elected officials, who gave 2 contributions, probably the only contributions he's ever given to her opponents in her last election, and he leads this prosecution. It should have been it started off as a criminal tax investigation, and now you have these charges that are not only false, but we've got exculpatory evidence to prove them wrong.
Yeah, so nobody should be surprised there, right? Joy Reid trying to make her friend, right, her black girlfriend, seem like a victim, okay? And Miss Mosby here, again, because she's woke, going up here and playing the victim card, right? Basically trying to say, well, it's racism, right? It's because I'm black, okay? It's because they're trying to rig the election, which is something that Democrats told us you're not supposed to say. You're not supposed to make those type of false claims about the election, right? But again, this is par for the course of Democrats, right? Let's make excuses and play victim, right? And just act like nothing is our fault. Take no responsibility for our actions, okay? Now, again, she's been charged, right? And she is innocent until proven guilty, so I don't expect her to admit guilt. However, it seems like the residents of Baltimore aren't necessarily buying the race card here, as she just got embarrassed in the Baltimore election for state attorney. Take a look.
Meantime, two-term incumbent Marilyn Mosby defeated by Ivan Bates in the Democratic primary for city state's attorney. A wave of mail-in ballots counted over the past 2 days, not enough to seriously dent Bates's lead. He has about 6,000 more votes than runner-up Saru Vignarajah. Marilyn Mosby taking to Twitter to congratulate Ivan Bates, also saying that she is completely prepared for a smooth transition to the new administration, regardless of who wins. Vignarajah also congratulating Bates on Twitter, saying Baltimore faces monumental challenges and everyone needs Bates and his team to be at their best if he is elected. Well, Bates moves on to face independent Roya Hanna in the general election. Regardless of who wins, though, change is coming to the office. An election night that turned out to be the takedown of a two-term incumbent with national prominence. But this Saturday saw Marilyn Mosby concede defeat to challenger Ivan Bates.
When you are trying to implement change, there's always going to be resistance.
While Bates must still go on to face off against independent Roya Hanna, Fox 45 News is asking voters, a community, how it feels now that a changing of the guard is on the horizon.
I think that'll make our community nervous.
Some see a change ahead for their lives, especially here in Northwest Baltimore. Some would say a Mosby stronghold.
My opinion, as long as it's not violent, I don't see what's the point of taking them through the system and locking them up.
Well, Zona Tyler's reaction, it wasn't about the policy. She agrees with Marilyn Mosby's prosecution policies, but supported Ivan Bates because for her, it was other baggage she feels the city state's attorney is carrying, a federal indictment.
I really have a lot of respect for her. She do have a lot of support, still have a lot of supporters, but at the same time, people are kind of iffy about her situation that she has going on.
She's did a lot of support in this city, yes, and helped a lot of people out. And I do feel like she wasn't supposed to lose. New beginnings.
Others say that change is needed, given the crime rate in Baltimore.
Well overdue. We need some new blood in there. Someone gonna be in office and take care of the crime and not letting petty crime go, prosecute everybody that's committing crime.
And others have mixed feelings.
And I do agree that maybe it is time for a change, but also I'm a little disappointed that she didn't win. She fights for things that people behind the scenes don't understand when it comes to, being African American and, not everybody, but some people don't get it, that she just doesn't want people to go to jail because there's a lot of innocent Black Americans that go to jail.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, Miss Marilyn Mosby lost for multiple reasons, right? The number one reason is that she was soft on crime, right? Particularly when it came to violent crime. As I stated at the beginning of this video in regards to how there are a lot of murders that could have been prevented, okay, if she was tougher on crime, okay, and also on top of that, her allegedly being corrupt as well too. These financial crimes and these fraud crimes that she allegedly was involved in, it was just too much, right? The wokeness was not enough to overcome that, and now it seems like she should be worried about prison, right? She may be headed to prison after getting embarrassed in this state attorney race, which again the irony here is kind of crazy how she made a name for herself going out the law enforcement and trying to hold law enforcement and public officials accountable. And now she doesn't want to take accountability as a public official for her alleged crimes, right? And she may be the public official that is going to be locked up and seeing jail time. But again, like I said, man, these people that are super woke, man, a lot of them are just as corrupt as the people that they're accusing of corruption. And this time, the race card, okay, / the victim card did not save this woke prosecutor from the wrath of the criminal justice system and the voters. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.